Welcome back to another 4-way woodturning project. This time Richard proposed spatula pot, and this is my version. And look at this lovely walnut. In this video you're going to see how I deal with extra long tube, how I hollow it out from both ends when I don't have extra long tools. So all of that in this video. Watching this video, check out what Richard, Sam and Mike did for their own version of spatula pot. So I have two nice pieces of timber. This is elm. Really nice. I think contrast will be to the walnut, and this is really lovely walnut. So yeah, that will be the pot itself. This will be the base, and I'll show you how to hollow this out when you have the blank longer than the longest tool that you have. And in my case, you'll see that in a few seconds. So first, what I want to do is just get this blank ready for chuck. This is 30mm wide continental spindle gouge that I'll use to bring this down to round. You can use it, I'll show you two methods. This one is scooping to the void or to the right of the spindle, or you can go to the left, but start from the end, don't start from the middle. Tool rest is a little bit too high. So you can chew up the blank like that, or both methods work quite well. So I'll switch to skew now. For the skew I like to raise the rest, not that high, but a little bit. So I'm cutting at around 11 o'clock position. This is 19mm wide skew. Clean. Just see how the timber is working. There is a lovely figure here, so once the oil gets on, this should be really lovely piece. And also a little bit of a different color here. Hope you can see that. Should be really stunning pot. So that's ready for chuck. And once I'm in this roughing stage, I'm also going to clean up the base. Base dimensions are, at least for now, let's see, almost 120mm. Diameter, thickness is variable. The thinnest part is 1.25 inches, so around 32mm. This was cut with, I believe, with a chainsaw. Half-inch diameter spindle gouge, or 12mm. The reason I'm roughing out the base so I can measure sort of proportions. And actually, while I have it like this, what I'm going to do is just clean up the bottom with the scraper. There is no point in chucking twice to do the bottom, so I'll do it now. Whoops. But this is a rough on method of making a detail on the foot. Okay, that's really nicely done. So quick sand on the base, 180 grit. Finishing will be done afterwards. Probably I'll put the Danish oil on. Lovely. Oh, I just saw this. There is a little split here, but I think that's not a huge concern. So that goes aside, and now I can focus on the pot itself. So the top goes into the chuck, and I align it with the bedways, what I think should be okay. I can also bring the tailstock on the other end, which I'm actually going to do. So that way, a little bit of a pressure, and tighten the chuck on the other end. Now I'll start first by cleaning up the end grain, and I'll start the hollowing process. So again, this is the bottom, so I want to get it done first. And this is a spindle gouge, and if you wonder about blue marker line here or color, then you probably watched or haven't watched my video on bevel rubbing techniques. So a little bit lighter cut, just to reduce, because the cylinder is long away from the chuck, so it does rattle here a little bit, or makes a harmonic sound. Make a starter hole, and just to make my life a little bit easier, I'm going to drill a depth hole. In this case, it's not a depth hole, just a clearance of the metal. Okay, so now the fun bit, hollowing this out. Now you could drill this out, and I'll show you that from the other side. This side I'll show you how to start with the scraper. So this is square end scraper, inspired by my mentor Richard Raffin, and just take lighter cuts. Again, I'm far away from the chuck. Get the tool rest slightly higher. Now, again, this is the bottom, and if you're wondering why I'm hollowing the bottom, again, this will be a tube, and that way I can flip from both sides and hollow it out and meet in the middle to solve the issue of not having a long enough tool to hollow this and make a base on this pot itself without making the separate piece. Hope I explained that right. So this is 19mm wide square and scraper. So that's roughly a little less than 1 inch in. I'll bring the tool rest higher now and go deeper. I'll get the final wall thickness and surface once I get the hollowing done. Slightly further back so you can see a little bit of how I hold and where the handle goes, and it goes below my or underneath my elbow, forearm. Square and scraper. This is my 25 by 10 mil square and scraper, and it has a custom oak handle that I've turned, so a little bit heavier tool, longer handle, better leverage. The tool rest is slightly too high. This is thicker tool. Now you won't be able to see much better than I am. Basically, I don't see. This is all done by feel. Let's see where we're at. Four inches, 100 mil, almost at middle point. First boring the center out. I'm nibbling by raising and lowering the edge slightly. Then I come back and remove the rest. I'll actually make a final cut. Nice and slowly. That's pretty good. So I'm roughly halfway down, and now what I want to do is sand the bottom portion. 120 grit on a dowel like this. Nifty little trick. Again, I learned this from Richard. Okay, so I've sanded this to 320 grit. So the bottom of the inside is done. That's pretty good. So now this will get flipped around. And just to show you the inside, not too bad. Now there will be some teeth marks from the chuck, but again, I'm not concerned much with that. And this is another reason why I want to drill this side, and that is to reduce as much of the stress on this end. So I have a Forstner bit in the chuck, and I'll bring the speed down around 700 RPM. Let's try that. I do have a 60mm Forstner bit, which is almost perfect size. However, this end is slightly smaller. So let's see if I just take this out of the chuck, and I'll compare with the Forstner bit this opening. Yeah, so the opening is smaller than the Forstner bit, so what that means is I'll have a ridge or a step in the middle here, which I don't want, obviously. So this goes back in the chuck. Find the teeth marks and grip those. It should run through. Almost. So this set I got from NEUREITER in Austria. Excellent drill bits, really sharp, and or Forstner bits, really sharp and really nice, and really designed for end grain. Great usage, and these extenders as well. Really handy for this kind of application. You know, you have a correct speed when drilling when the Forstner bit isn't hot, so that's another guess sign. To the fun bit of hollowing this out, but now there is a lot less resistance because I'm not hollowing a lot of amount. All I want to do is now expand the hole, and again a square end scraper, and just take your time. I'll do it in steps. Now actually, before I continue on, I'm just going to finish up the rim. This is the visible area. Nice and gently. I really want to minimize the pressure against the lathe axis, so that's okay for now. Back with the square and scraper. So I'm not forcing anything, I'm taking my time here. Again, the other end is hollow. It is a solid grip for now, so you don't want to dig in with a scraper because that could snap the other end. So I'm just taking maybe 1 mil at a time, maybe even less than that. Remove that wall of end grain so I don't butt up against again. So just slowly, okay. Okay, so the tube is connected and there is maybe a tiny bit of a ridge, but I think that will get sanded away. So now the sanding, not the fun part. So I'll tune you in once I sand that. I'll still use the same technique with this dowel and sandpaper. I think that's done, at least the inside. So just I'll blow out the dust. So here is the tube, and I think that's pretty darn good. You can't feel any ridge, you can't reach at least. Yeah, so that's done. Now I have to only clean up the outside and finish that. Show you how I'm going to clean up the outside. So I have this block. This is now fitted for the bottom here. So this end will go in a chuck like so. Just see where the teeth marks are. so it should run nice and true, and it is. So just tighten that. So that end, this is the bottom that goes here. It's a good fit, not too tight, not too loose. And on this end I have this turned as a plug with a quite good fit, as you can see. And there is a center hole here, and just tighten a little bit. You don't need a whole lot of pressure. So now you have the cylinder all nicely exposed, you have the ends nicely secured, and you can go through the end into the timber here without any chip out or anything like that. Back with the skew, it's slightly out of round, just a little bit, not by much, so perfect. Now I want to see if I remove the tool marks, or chuck marks rather. So still a little bit on this end, and on this end a little bit more here. And here also have a little rougher grain patch. So a little bit more here and in the middle. Look at this beauty of a walnut. That's really nice stuff. Once the oil gets on, this will be extremely nice. Now just to give you a tip, let's say, so you can always make a auxiliary base or proper base, let's say, and just cap one end. So that is one possibility. I could turn a plug like this, glue it in, and that will be a spatula pot, but I want something a little bit wider for a base. But this is another option, let's say, if you don't have a tool like I don't have, or if you want to make really tall hollowing. So this is another method. So okay, so now it's actually day 2. Yesterday it was getting quite late, and yeah, I finished for yesterday. So today is a new day, and I'll start on the base. Now I finished, as you saw in the beginning of the video, I finished the bottom, although I don't have a gripping point that I prefer, let's say. So what I'm going to do is make a small recess here, that way I don't have to do anything else to the bottom. I could grip this, but again, if you remember, there is a small split here, so I want to remove that as much as I can. A small square and scraper, 12mm wide. Speed can go 2000 RPM. With small skew, I'll undercut the tenon or the recess, remove the sharp corner, and I'll make a detail out of this corner here a little bit. Okay, that's good. Spindle gouge. Now ideally I don't want to lose any more diameter of this base, but I do want to remove this little split here, so let's see, it's in this little region here, so I'll do a little push cut on the outside. Okay, it's getting smaller, so a little bit more. Okay, that's gone. Scraper, shear scraper. Okay, that's good. So this is the measurement for the tenon that the cylinder will fit over. I want to sneak up on that fit. Back with a shear scraper. With the spindle gouge, and first I'll make a taper. Just see where the cylinder will fit. Okay, just barely fits over. Shall switch to skew, and I can use the side of the skew to fine-tune the fit. Okay, I think that's perfect fit. I'd like to undercut this ever so slightly. Like so. And now from this area, from roughly here down to this corner, I can do any kind of a shape, beads or anything like that, but in this case I think I'm just going to go with simple curve, nothing crazy. and a little chamfer on the bottom. You're going to see these details when you look down into the pot. Okay, I think that should be okay. Quick sand. Okay, I'm quite happy with that. So all I have to do now is glue it, and that's it. And here it is. This is my version of spatula pot. This has one coat of Danish oil, and look at this figure on this walnut. Really lovely stuff. And just to show you the base, the fit, really nice and clean look, I believe. The bottom. And again, holds quite a bit of spatulas, not too much. Ideally, a slightly shorter cylinder and wider diameter would be ideal, but I really wanted to use this lovely piece of walnut. And this can be used for stirrers. I think it's called so similar, like let's say this spindle, just to stir your stew. So this can hold quite a bit of those. But spatulas, these that I have here, fit quite nicely. To show you the inside as well, hopefully the light will get down there. You can see the detail. Again, not probably many people care about that, but I do. I know it's there. And please don't forget to check out Sam, Mike and Richard's version of this month's 4-way project, which is spatula pot.